So I just wanted to show you guys a couple of things I'm working on. I currently have, well, up until this morning, I had 4 projects in the works. Now I have 3. This is just a small fold over pouch that I made using a lot of scrap fabric, as well as some of the smaller pieces of fabric that I eco-dyed, including this little strip of muslin that was dyed, this canvas that is behind that, also this trim, these synthetic flowers. So a lot of this stuff is actually from the different eco-dyed baths that I have made. I just did a very quick wraparound closure here with a small little enameled flower, and it just opens up really easily like this. And basically I've stitched all along the insides in kind of some crazy patterns. I've added some beading, and then on the back it's mostly just fabrics. These are some offcuts of another project I'm working on, which I will show you in a minute. There's like a small wooden button, some French knots, some trims, and then on the inside I've also used my avocado pit and onion dye muslin. I kind of really like that you can see the stitches through. Originally I had just matted this down onto a piece of muslin, and then I've matted it down again with muslin as the lining, so there's a few layers, including an interfacing to kind of give it some more bulk. And I'm pretty pleased with how this came out. I think it's really nice. As I work on projects and I have more scraps and I'm also dyeing more fabrics, I'm kind of doing these little collage pieces in between. So this is one that I'm working on now. I only have a small box of scraps, but I'm trying to also use them up. It's like a good thing to do, and it also kind of just helps creatively with some collage pieces when some of the pieces I'm working on are a little bit more exact and precise. So this is one that I'm working on now. Most of this stuff is basted down, but there are some pieces of trim and applique that I'm putting on top of the bottom base pieces that I haven't sewn down yet. So there are some pins still in here, but my idea, I'm thinking, is that this is probably going to be the top bit and this is going to be the bottom bit, or maybe it'll be the other way around. I'm not really sure yet. I haven't really done the fold to see how it's going to look. It's not in that stage just yet. But again, basically I've just taken some muslin and I've basted a bunch of these pieces of fabric down. It ranges from felt to chiffon to old napkin to some dyed Aida fabric, cotton trims, etc. So it looks crazy now, and it's kind of like this one looked crazy when I first started it, but I think that when they come out they look really put together and I don't know, just tactile and cute. I had another video where I showed you guys this one, which I'm working on, and this again is like a very different style. It's super precise. I'm hand beading basically one bead at a time, everything. I've recently added the top bit of this trim to the bag, which is going to wrap around it, and then it is going to be sewn down, and then there's going to be like a button that's placed here for closure. So this one is currently in the works, but it's a slow project and it's taking some time. And then I'm also working on another piece. Basically, I had bought, this is another old handkerchief. Whoa, sorry. This is another old handkerchief, this black. It's super, super thin. I've matted it onto a piece of canvas that I dyed, and it's gonna fold up like this, and that's going to be the base of the bag. And then I've basically taken an old doily. Again, this was dyed with the avocado pit and onion skins, and I've matted this also onto some dyed canvas with interfacing, and I've cut it around so that this is going to still kind of move freely, and this is going to then latch basically onto the back of the bag, so that when it closes, it's gonna look something like this. And that would be the clutch bag. I am, because of some discoloration, I am planning on adding some things here, probably beading all around. I realize I probably should have beaded it before I added canvas because it's a lot thicker and it's going to be a little bit harder to bead, but yeah, I'm not really sure exactly what I'm gonna do just yet. Maybe I also will just use interfacing and do some trim that goes like around, not necessarily this trim, but a trim that's gonna go all the way around this border to kind of help cover up this spot. Or maybe I just add, I don't know, a random button and make it a little bit less kind of perfect and symmetrical and make it a little bit more funky. That's also an option. But I've stopped this one because I'm kind of still deciding how I want the end bag to look, I guess, so to speak. So I'm trying to just like be loose and play with this, so that way when I get to my other projects, I feel like, okay, I'm ready to kind of see where these guys go and how it turns out. This one I kind of know how it's going to turn out, but it also just takes a lot of concentration and preciseness to pick up each one of these beads and sew it on in the exact holes so that I'm not making extra holes in the fabric itself, and kind of just go around and do that in a really precise way. So I've been working on it. I just really have this section to do in the middle here, and then I will be halfway done with that and I can start the other half. And then I'm thinking, I've added like just a few beads up here, 3 and 3, and so I'm thinking to kind of keep that theme going all the way down with adding beads, and that's how I would attach this trim to the bag. I'm also debating whether or not to reline this. I think that I will add just another layer of interfacing and then another layer, I think, of probably hand dyed or the eco dyed muslin. This one is not an eco dyed muslin, that's just the regular color. So you can see the difference between a dyed piece and the plain natural piece, but I think that another round of interfacing will probably do this bag well. And then I think I'm just gonna leave the rest of it plain. I also am debating whether I'm gonna continue that beading around the sides when I do this, when I do the closure for this, if I'm gonna bead and have beads kind of on the sides here, or if maybe I couch down some sort of like a rope trim or something. So I'm gonna see how that plays out. But that's basically, these are the two bags that I'm working on that are a little bit more exacting. This is my little box of scraps, so there really isn't that much. Most of it is felt from the linings of the little pouches that I've been doing, but I've also been trying to line them in other things, like muslin and other eco dyed fabrics, canvas, etc. So I'm gonna start sewing down the or at least basting down the trims on this that I haven't basted down just yet, and then I'm gonna work on folding and seeing how it's gonna play out, like how the final bag is actually gonna look, and then I can start playing with stitching and embroidery thread. I have another one of these strips actually that I plan to use, and I'm gonna couch that down, I think, right over here. So I really like that aesthetic of that, but it's not worth basting it down. I just do it when I do it. So yeah, so that's kind of the process of how these things have come out. I think I'm up to like 12 or 13 pouches, which is really nice. I like the addition of the little kind of flower at the closure edge. I think it's super cute, and it adds a little bit of something fun. And oh, another thing I want to add is this is from my grandmother's sewing box. I only have this much left, so it's like very precious, but it's like very 70s vibe. Yeah, so I wanted to also add some of this somewhere because I think the oranges and the yellows go really nicely, and there are like some spots where I think like we could just be a little crazy and add something a little extra. I was thinking maybe along the top edge of the bag when it's finished. So again, it's kind of working as you go, but then basting down certain base level things so that you kind of know what you're working with. Basically, I just took scraps that seemed like they matched in color, had some contrast, but also fit like in all of the spots that I needed to cover. The base piece of this, a lot of it is eco-dyed smaller pieces of fabric that I've used, which you can see. And then, yeah, I've just added some other bits and pieces to kind of pull it all together. So that's kind of what I've been working on, along with some other non-sewing, other medium projects. So yeah, that's about it. Okay, so this is kind of my utility space. I have a utility sink here, which I do a lot of my brush rinsing and cleanup type things. If I need to rinse stencils, stuff like that, try out new projects. I tried something with bleach on this spare towel. It didn't work well, but that's fine. It's an experiment. And these are the 3 dye baths that I've had going now for nearly, I'd say 48 hours. I did last night tip them over so that the tops of the fabrics would get dyed as well, making sure that they didn't spill, which they didn't, so that was good. But basically this is all from purple cabbage. So we have purple cabbage with a little bit of vinegar, purple cabbage with baking soda, and then purple cabbage with a lot of vinegar. I'm hoping it's not going to be too stinky, but I'm also hoping that the fabric is going to take the dye well. Some of these I've tried in past dyes and they did not take super well, so I'm wondering if maybe this time they will do. So basically what I'm going to do is open each of these, take the fabrics out, rinse them really well in the sink, and then once this is empty, I fill it with clean water, and then I just kind of let the rest of the extra dyes soak out of the fabrics in the container until I wring them out, and then I put them on the drying rack behind me to dry. So let's see how we go. So super interesting. The amount of vinegar doesn't seem to really make too much of a difference, but there is a little bit of a difference for sure. This is the muslin that was using only a little bit of vinegar, whereas this is the muslin that was using a little bit more. Also, I had previously dyed something with turmeric in there, and there must have still been some particles because I can see some yellows kind of shining through, which I think is super cool. The cabbage with baking soda, the canvas came out beautifully. It came out so pretty. So did this one. It came out like super green. Hi, Theodore. The muslin came out this like very light kind of a gray color, which I think is super cool. You can see that all of these just look really nice. So we have to keep in mind that these fabrics are all still wet, so the color will change as they dry. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how they came out. There was some differentiation in color in terms of playing with the acidity of the dye bath, which was interesting to see. And I am a bit surprised at some of the colors that came out, at some of the colors that didn't come out, like that white trim. So I'll just wait for these guys to dry, iron them out, and then hopefully be happy with the final dye colors. Thank you guys for watching some of my crazy experiments and my kind of intuitive and a little bit all over the place process in making some of the things that I've been working on. I hope you guys all have a fantastic day and feel creatively inspired. Thanks for watching.